There was a moment, somewhere between 2005 and 2010, where console gaming felt like it was becoming something bigger than it had ever been. Online multiplayer wasn't a feature anymore, it was the default. Achievements tracked anything you did. Friends list connected you to people across the world, and the games felt like they were built for a new era entirely. That is that era, the Xbox 360, and what it actually meant. To understand what the Xbox 360 meant, you have to understand what came before it. Microsoft entered the console market in 2001 with the original Xbox. It was a bold, late entry into a space dominated by Sony's PlayStation 2. The original Xbox sold approximately 24 million units across its lifetime. Respectable, but a distant second to the PS2's 155 million. What it did establish, however, was a foundation everything else would be built on. In 2002, Microsoft launched Xbox Live, a paid online service that standardized online console gaming in a way nothing had before. For $50 a year, players got a single unified online network, a persistent gamer tag tied to their identity, voice chat through a headset included with the service, matchmaking across supported titles. Before Xbox Live, online console gaming existed, but it was fragmented. Each game ran its own servers. There was no unified identity, no friends list, no consistent experience. Xbox Live changed the structure entirely. For players in 2002, logging into Halo's 2 online multiplayer through Xbox Live in 2004 felt genuinely new. You weren't just playing a match, you were part of a network. But the original Xbox had a ceiling. The hardware was large, the library was limited outside of Halo, and Sony was dominant in a way that felt immovable. Microsoft needed a generational leap. In November 2005, a full year before Sony and Nintendo, they took it. The Xbox 360 launched on November 22, 2005 in North America, December in Europe and Japan. Launch price $299 for the core system, $399 for the premium bundle. First week North American sales approximately 326,000 units, limited by supply constraints, not demand. By the end of 2005, Microsoft had shipped around 900,000 units worldwide. It wasn't a massive number, but it was a 12-month head start over the PlayStation 3, which launched in November 2006 at $499 to $599. That head start mattered structurally. Developers had the full year building for 360 hardware before PS3 existed commercially. Xbox Live 2.0 launched alongside the console, redesigned the dashboard, expanded marketplace, downloadable content infrastructure already in place. Xbox Live Arcade became a platform within the platform. Smaller, downloadable titles available for purchase directly through the console, bypassing retail entirely. The achievement system launched simultaneously. Every game on the platform supported Gamerscore, a persistent numerical score tied to your account, earned through in-game challenges. It was the first unified achievement system on a home console. Achievements sound minor in retrospect, but in 2005, seeing a notification pop up mid-game, telling you that something you'd just done had been permanently recorded to your profile, that was new. It made games feel like they were watching your back, but the head start almost collapsed before it could matter. The hardware had a problem, and Microsoft knew it. The red ring of death. 3 flashing red lights on the front of the console. Hardware failure. General error. No specific diagnosis. The failure rate of early Xbox 360 hardware was severe. Independent estimates placed it between 23% and 54% of units from early production runs. Numbers Microsoft never officially confirmed, but the scale of the problem became undeniable. In July 2007, Microsoft made a decision that cost them $1.05 billion in a single quarter. They extended the warranty on all Xbox 360 consoles to 3 years, specifically covering the red ring failure, and committed to repairing or replacing every affected unit at no cost to the consumer. That decision wasn't just financial, it was a trust calculation. Microsoft had a platform with momentum, a growing library, and an online infrastructure competitors hadn't matched. Abandoning customers at that moment would have permanently damaged the brand in a console generation they were positioned to win. The $0.15 billion write-down was the cost of staying in the race. For players, the Red Ring was a real experience. Many went through 2 or 3 consoles across the generation. The coffin box, the brown cardboard Microsoft sent to ship your unit for repair, became a dark joke in the community. And yet, most came back, because the games were there, and in 2007, the library became something nobody could ignore. 2007 was the year the Xbox 360 library became a generation-defining argument. Within a 12-month window, Halo 3 launched September 25, 2007. $170 million in sales in the first 24 hours. It became the fastest-selling entertainment product in history at that point, surpassing film and music records. Gears of War had launched in November 2006, selling 3 million copies in its first 10 weeks and establishing cover-based shooting as the dominant third-person combat template for the generation. BioShock launched August 2007, a narrative-driven first-person shooter set in a collapsed underwater city, which became one of the most critically acclaimed games of the generation. Mass Effect launched November 2007, BioWare's RPG with a branching narrative system where player decisions carried across the trilogy, a structure that influenced RPG design throughout the following decade. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare launched November 2007, introducing killstreak rewards, experience-based progression, and a persistent unlock system to online multiplayer that became the template for the next 10 years of shooter design. That 12-month window was dense in a way that rarely happens in any medium. Players weren't choosing between good games. They were choosing between games that each independently felt like they were redefining what the format could do. And all of it ran to Xbox Live. The network effect compounded everything. Xbox Live, in this spirit, wasn't just an online service. It was the connective layer that made the platform coherent. By 2008, Xbox Live had over 17 million active subscribers. By 2010, over 25 million. The service introduced party chat in 2008, allowing players to maintain a voice conversation across different games simultaneously. You could be playing separate titles with the same group of friends, talking continuously. No other platform offered this at the time. Xbox Live Arcade became a commercially serious platform during this period. Braid in 2008, a narrative puzzle platformer that sold over 55,000 copies in its first week on XBLA, demonstrating that digital-only releases could perform commercially. Castle Crashers in 2008, a co-op brawler that became one of the best-selling XBLA titles of the generation. Geometry Wars Retro Evolved 2, a score attack shooter that drove competitive leaderboard engagement within the Xbox Live community. The marketplace model, purchasing content digitally, tied to your account, established habits that the entire industry would build on. Xbox Live during this period made the console feel alive between sessions. Your friends list showed what everyone was playing. Achievements tracked progress across the whole library. Messages arrived while you were in other games. It was the first time a console felt like a persistent social space, not just a device you turned on to play. But by 2010, the competitive landscape had shifted. Sony had closed the gap, and Microsoft's response changed the platform's identity. In June 2010, Microsoft unveiled Kinect at E3, a motion sensing camera that tracked full body movement, no controller required. Kinect launched in November 2010 at $149.99. It had sold 8 million units in its first 60 days, entering the Guinness World Records as the fastest selling consumer electronics device at that point. By 2011, over 80 million units had shipped. But Kinect's commercial success didn't translate to the core audience. The device worked within specific physical constraints, requiring clear space, consistent lighting, and a minimum distance from the sensor. The software library leaned heavily toward casual and family titles. For the audience that had built their experiences on Halo, Gears and Call of Duty, Kinect felt like a different product wearing the same name. The late Xbox 360 era created a split. The console that had defined online competitive gaming and achievement-driven play in 2007 was, by 2012, increasingly focused on entertainment apps, Kinect experiences and casual content. The identity that had made the platform matter was less visible. The Xbox 360's final years were defined more by inertia than momentum. But what it had built between 2005 and 2010 didn't disappear. It became the foundation everything after was measured against. The Xbox 360 era lasted from 2005 to 2013. It didn't win the generation outright. The PlayStation 3 eventually closed within 5 million units of the 360's final 84 million units sold. But winning wasn't the whole story. What the Xbox 360 era actually did was establish the infrastructure, the habits and expectations that every console generation since has been built around. Unified online networks, achievement systems, digital marketplaces, party chat, Day 1 DLC, the live service model beginning to take shape. All of it standardized, tested and scaled during this one era. The games were remarkable, the network was transformative, and the window between 2007 and 2010 was one of the densest, most consequential periods in console gaming history. That's what this era was. New case files release every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.